Okay, welcome to PatternAI. We're going to demonstrate how we can automatically abstract a lease from a Word document or a PDF into an Excel document. So what we're going to do is go here to what we call Talk to Pattern. And Talk to Pattern is a chat-like and conversational AI capability, allows you to interact with Pattern in a real-time basis. And I'm going to take a lease here, just a regular standard lease here. This is an actual lease. It's been sanitized and data has been changed. So we can go through what this lease looks like. And I'm going to just click an automation here, which is generate lease abstract. And I'll explain in a second here what we're doing exactly. So we've uploaded a lease to Pattern here in the documents area here. You can see the lease document is here. And what we want Pattern to do is to take this lease, which is right here, and convert it into this lease abstract template right here. Now, this is the PatternAI template. It's our standard template, but it could be your own. And I think one of the things that makes Pattern unique is that Pattern can abstract and generate any document you want in your own format. So while this is our format and we will do the demonstration in our Excel format, this could be yours. So you could have entirely different structure to your lease abstract. You can have any fields you want. And so instead of having monthly charges here being the periods where we have here, let's say type of charge would be, let's say, a monthly rent and there's a start date and end date. You could say beginning date and end date of period, and the monthly amount, you could have this be the annual amount, for example. So what we want in this abstract here is to have the property address for the property exactly right here in cell B4, and always B4, and always the property address here. And we don't want addresses for other people here, like let's say the tenant here or the law firm here or some other firm there. We want the tenant name to be right here. If there's a DBA here for the tenant, we want that to be there as well. So for example, the DBA for this tenant will be somewhere down here. I don't know how people do this manually, but we have to try to find that tenant name wherever it is here, the DBA for that. Here it is right here. So Boot Barn, Western, and Workwear, we want that to be right here. By the way, notice it says tenant trade names. It doesn't say DBA. We want Pattern to be smart enough to understand that tenant DBA is the same as a tenant trade name here. Check on that. Okay, that's already done here, but let's just go through very briefly a couple other things here. So we want the monthly charges here. We want this to be, for example, the original lease. We want the start date and end date. And notice in the document here, there is no start date. It's just here, the 6th day of September here. But we have the lease year one is going to be $32,478.33. So what we want here is to say $32,478.33, of course. And we want that to be exactly right here. And the start date should be September 6th. And the end date should be exactly 12 months from that date. And then we want the next period to be right here as well, to go all the way down through this lease, which is a 10-year lease. And we want here the lease term here to say 120 months or 10 years. In this case, we specify it in months in the back end for this template that we have, but you could say years. So if yours said years, it would say 10 years. But in this case, ours is months, and we want this to say 120 months. And we want the option period to be filled out similarly to the monthly charges here. So the option period would be, let's say, option period 1, which is renewal, and we want that to be right here, going through this lease right here, right here. So we want that to be $39,979.05, $39,979.05, and we want that to be right there. But the start date, notice, is not specified. It's just lease years 11 through 15. And then what is this 524,234 and this 433, or sorry, 43,686? What period does that refer to? Even as a human, you have to kind of look at that. So we want Pattern to be smart enough to put that there and say 43,686, and that's going to be whatever period that is, like, lease year number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay, let's take a look at what this looks like here. So I'm going to click here, and it's going to open up an Excel file here. And so this is the before document, the after, before and after. Okay, so we're going to get rid of before, and we're just going to move this over here. And let's pull up the other document here. And so we can look at this here. And so when we go through this document, we can see exactly everything that we wanted to see here, which is, in fact, all of the data that we have here in the lease. So 455 is the address here, Boot Barn Inc. This is Boot Barn Western and Workwear, 120 months. This is a retail triple net lease. The square footage is 14,990. Now, this is kind of important here, and actually kind of exciting, where if we know that the square footage is important, for example, for calculating certain fields, like for example the pro rata share and so on, we want to get that number right. And now I know what the value is here. It's 14,990, but why wasn't 210? So 210,000 square feet in the shopping center. And it's really important when you get these leases right. If you're just using a language model, it's easy to get this one wrong. And so Pattern gets this exactly right, 14,990 square footage in the premises. And it didn't say 210,000 in the shopping center. And that's exactly what we want here, is that kind of accuracy that is extremely hard to get right. And of course, we have all of our values here that we want in the document here. So there's our 32,478.33. Notice it's September 6, 24 to September 5th, 2025. That Pattern has automatically calculated the rent schedule here based on nothing more than just lease year 1, lease year 2, and so on, all the way down to 38,814.62, and that number is exactly 100% correct. You will see other companies out there, and this is critically important, using just API calls to language models like the GPT models from OpenAI, maybe Anthropic, and so on. And language models get math wrong. And so you really cannot trust a platform that uses just a language model. So you really have to know that there's real data science taking place here, and that the AI is also using other capabilities to get these numbers 100% correct, because this is really hard to get right. And then all the way down here to our option period. So we have the 5. So remember, this is a 2 5-year option periods here. And here is option period number 1. So these are 12 months here, 5 of those. And those are the values here. And you can see those, the 32 all the way up to whatever it is, 35,155. Where is this here in the option period here? Oh, sorry, that's the original rent there. There, see, humans make mistakes. AI, you'll see, does not make that mistake here. 43,686.19, exactly right there. We're just looking at just a few minutes before. So we've calculated the rent schedule. We've calculated the option period. We have all these other details here that we might care about. Again, your lease abstract template can have any other elements you want. So ours has, for example, insurance clause. So you have like landlord and tenant. Landlord for general liabilities is responsible for $3 million, and the tenant is for $2 million. That's in section 22. And we could go down there and look here in section 22 and go see insurance. There it is, insurance by landlord and tenant. And it's exactly right there where Pattern has specified it there. Now going further down here, we have other clauses here, exclusivity clauses here, and so on. And Excel doesn't always auto fit these. That's an Excel issue, not a PatternAI issue. But we can go see a summary of this. And if you were to work with Pattern, you could get this. You could say, I want this in 50 words or less. I want this written in simple layman's terms, so that anybody, including, for example, a first-year person at our organization, could understand exactly what this exclusive use section 62 is right there. So we can put any outputs you want here. And then, of course, going down to other sections, which are really important here, which might be things like estoppel clauses, parking, utilities, and HVAC, and so on. We can see all these different values here. But let's take a look, for example, at HVAC, tenant responsibilities, section 28B, and we can go here and look at that. And it says repairs. And then deep in this big section here, it's already in there. There's the HVAC system. In fact, let's go ask Pattern about that. We're going to go back here and just say, if you're who's responsible for HVAC, tenant, or landlord, and where did you find that? And so what we're going to do is just talk with Pattern and ask Pattern these questions, and then Pattern will automatically read that document and answer this question. And it's going to say something like it's section 28B, and the tenant is responsible for that. And we could even have a follow-up question here, which would be draft an email, um, draft an email to landlord, letting them know the clause for HVAC. I could even just say the clause, and likely Pattern would know that. Um, Typically, you want to be more explicit with your prompts and interactions here, and just tenants. Sorry, landlord's name is Bob, right? And so Pattern has what we call memory, so it can understand the previous thread here, which is the previous interaction here, just like you're following a conversation like a human. And so instead of just letting them know the clause, it knows we're talking about HVAC here, and it says right here, dear Bob, I'm writing to confirm. I understand the HVAC maintenance in section 28B and so on. And so Pattern can automatically generate these abstracts for you. It can generate, in fact, any documents, because if you can automatically upload a lease and generate an abstract, you can generate any other document in your real estate portfolio for any properties you have, and it can include scanned documents and so on. You can go from a Word doc and PDF to an Excel. You can take an Excel document, generate a Word document just the same. So Pattern is very, very intelligent, and it is able to generate your documents for you automatically, and not ChatGPT outputs, but in fact your own documents exactly how you want them, because this document right here might feed into a bigger financial model where you maybe have a rent schedule, rent rolls, or quarterly reports, and so on. And you always want to refer to column E17 through E 30 or whatever it is here. And because your document is yours, you can feed this data here predictably into your model. You can't do that with ChatGPT or other systems, and certainly not with software outputs. So critically important, Pattern can generate your own documents for you in a matter of minutes with 100% accuracy.